Hey folks, it's Mike Reynolds. I'm a writer and former webmaster of Billy, Maine. We now have a much better woman that can do the website. So now I just write and do short story times. I've been doing story times since the start of COVID. I like the dynamic of a oral versus writing something and publishing it versus like getting some feedback or at least having a voice and seeing a person. And I don't know, people were doing Zoom everything, and literally I saw my friend reading poetry. I'm like, oh, that's not a good idea in time, because I was pretty shaken up by everything that happened with COVID. So and I still have. I mean, it's still completely changed our lives, and it will for the rest of our lives. People are posting about today on my wall about how people are having COVID and stuff and worrying about shots and stuff. So, that being said, this is I've been wanting to do this all months. I haven't had a chance to because it's been a crazy month, and whenever I've tried to, it's been hot, or I've been sick, or I've been sick and hot, and everything, which is really frustrating. So, today we are doing Queer Pride. Disability History Storytime for Radical Disability Activism Storytime. And we kind of go through a bunch of different people that are awesome disabled queer activists, and do as many as I can for as long as I can. And then next month we have Disability Pride Month itself, but certainly I can sprinkle, queer people, because we're here, we're queer, we're everywhere. And to next month as well, and every day is a queer day. People, and I'm gay. I have had my cerebral palsy since birth, and I've been gay since as long as I can remember, and took me a while to come out, but I'm glad I did. And so let's get into it. Our first person we have is, well, I'm going to start with Carrie Lucas. Carrie Lucas is was a incredible disabled activist, mom, lawyer, and identified as a lesbian who had muscular dystrophy, who gained national attention with her protest against the medical issues that were going to take effect in 2017. I believe she got arrested at Cory Booker's office, and they couldn't even take her to they took her to the hospital because they couldn't take her to the police station because she was on event. Which she was laughing about because she was webcasting it like I am today. And she started the Disabled Parents Network of America for parents with disabilities. That her niece was not necessarily was needed a parent, and then we thought to ask Carrie, because at the time she was exactly 2 years older than me. She actually, me and her have the same birthday. And it's kind of awesome because my best friend I grew up with, who had muscular dystrophy and died, was also on board the same day I was. So kind of cool because Carrie had a different form of MD. And So Carrie ended up adopting 3 children at one point before she died. Um, and she was very active in like, all sorts of civil rights stuff. I saw her in Boston in 2000, and not there yet. Thing I saw her at um, the inaugural in 2009. I saw her all over the place. And she's amazing. She does have a Wikipedia page. Just look up Carrie Lucas, Carrie, Lucas, Lucas. She's amazing. Um, please go check her out. She's awesome, and you will appreciate hanging out. Like her activism is amazing. Um, Next we have, well, I'm gonna go with a British guy who's an activist with cerebral palsy, who is gay, named Simon James Stevens. He's a consultant and Huffington Post blogger in the UK. He worked on, big claim to fame is working on a 3D community in Second Life called Wheelies, which is like a virtual nightclub in Second Life. And he's been on the known for wearing a helmet and a wheelchair. He was in the UK, he was on UK's Channel 4 for a year on the show I'm a Spasticus. He's won a ton of awards and runs a disability consultancy firm called Enable Enterprises up until 2008 from Coventry in the UK. He's won the Revolutionary Award. It was presented by then in 2008 by Prime Minister Gordon Brown for his work in Second Life. And he has cerebral palsy. And he has also is 2009 he was diagnosed as having a nerve virus which resulted in long-term acute neuropathy, and he was also diagnosed as having being mildly bipolar. Stevie uses the word disability with the word DYS, ability, not only a new term to describe people, but a new positive and realistic term for people who define themselves as people with disability, with different mindsets, and that with the DIS ability, will have major consequences for people see their relationship with society from victim to independent investor. So, okay, and the next person we're going to talk about is Laura Hershey. Laura Ann Hershey was a gifted poet and a great friend, popular speaker, feminist, and disability rights activist, and writer. I actually wrote in the same publication as her at different times, at least once or twice. And she was an incredible writer. Her brother, I will be. And she's been known to park her. She was very big adult activist. She led the movement against Jerry Lewis and the MDA telethon, and the paternalistic images against her. She graduated from Colorado College in 1983, getting a BA in history. She received a Watson Fellowship after graduation, and which allowed her to travel and write, and allowed later to involvement in the global civil rights movement. She went on to get an MFA in creative writing from Antioch University, Los Angeles. She was in her activism. I'm actually going to quote her partner, who is actually a good friend of mine, Robin Stevens. Robin Stevens said, quote, "She was an intelligent, funny, active writer, actress, and mother. She was a genius who lived with disability and lived well. She wrote many poems, books of poems, magazines, and online at a number of different websites. Her works centers on battles to preserve individual dignity and world sanctity. You debilitated as invaluable and useless. Her poem, You Get Proud by Practicing, is one of my most famous works. Hershey was famous for protesting the Mustard Street Telethon and Jerry Lewis, which enticed the view that people at Mustard Street were not worth living. During the protest of Telethon in 2001, she was cited for trespassing. Didn't know that about her. I know that in 2009 she was working against him receiving a Lifetime Achievement Award for an Oscar, because he never did win an award, and I worked with her on that campaign. She was a keynote speaker at the AHEAD conference. She's worked with ADAPT. She worked with not dead yet, Colorado Cross Disability Coalition. She was very good friends with the above aforementioned Carrie Lucas. She co-founded the Domestic Violence Initiative for Women with Disability. She worked to raise awareness of queer and LGBTQ individuals with disabilities. She attended UN conferences in Nairobi, Kenya, and Beijing, China. She worked on campaigns to remove Social Security working disincentives, improve Medicaid home-based services, and promote the right to home care workers. Active in many communities and organizations, ADAPT, not yet, and the Colorado Cross Disability Coalition, amongst others. She has one book out, Survival Strategies for Going Abroad, a guide for people with disabilities, that was published by Mobility International 2005. She has so much poetry and columns. They're listed in her Wikipedia page, so I'll leave that for you as well. And for finding her stuff or a really good interview with her, what I highly suggest go to YouTube and searching for Laura Hershey, and there's a 13-part series by It's Our Story that has a 13-part interview with Laura Hershey. It's absolutely amazing, and probably it's the best thing you get to interview. She passed away in 2010. It really is kind of hard to I remember that Daisy did it, the whole issue with it. Really don't want to get into it because it was really personal. I will say that when I my mom died, she was one of the first people to give me condolences on Facebook. So again, it's kind of weird having so many um, uh, um, things with this. But yeah. Anyway, and I'm trying not to be too focused on people I know, but I realize if I be talking to people I know, it can provide personal insight that helps. It's a little bit of an add-on than just talking about various people and various disabilities and various, you know, um, people. So I'm going to try and give some insight if I know these people. Some I do, some I don't. Um, yeah, I'm doing the best I can. I will say that. Um, so Eli Clear is another disabled actress. He has cerebral palsy. I believe. Well, I can read his um, bio to you. Eli was born in 1963. He's an American writer, actress, educator. His work focuses on queer, transgender, and disability issues, which is what this podcast, what this Storytime is about. So go. And Claire was one of the first scholars popularized the body-mind concept. Um, uh, okay, so Eli was born in Coos Bay in 1963 and grew up in Port Orford, Oregon. He attended Reed College before transferring to Mills College, where he received a degree in women's studies in 1985. Claire earned an MFA in creative writing from Goddard College, which is in Vermont, in 1993. Eli Claire coordinated a rape prevention program and helped organize the first Queerness and Disability Conference in 2002. His work as association was associated with the second wave of the disability rights movement, and it definitely was, he still is, incredibly visionary and smart. Some of the awards he's got is he won the creating Canadian Award in the LTF, the LGBT Artist of the Year for Michigan Pride. In 2018, Claire received the Richard L. Shango Award for Visionary LGBTQ Leadership from American University. That year, his book, Believing in Perfection, won the Randy Schultz Award for Gay Nonfiction from Publishing Triangle. 2019, he was awarded Disability Future Fellowship by the Ford Foundation and the Andrew W. Mellon Foundation. Claire was a visiting scholar at the University at Buffalo Center for Diversity and Innovation for the 20 to 21 academic year. He's also on the advisory board for the Disability Project, housed under the Transgender Law Center, the large national trans-led organization in the U.S. Eli Claire is one of the first scholars to popularize the concept of body-mind, along with Margaret Price. Claire proposed that body-mind expresses the interrelatedness of the mental and physical processes. Claire uses body-mind in his work, Brilliant Imperfection, as a way to resist common Western assumptions. That is why the mind is superior to cheese, or that the mind is superior to the body. And Claire's been in all sorts of um, um, uh, uh, books and can't begin to describe. Again, his Wikipedia page has majority of his stuff. I met Eli once in New York. Actually, probably more than once. I think I met him in New York, or I think I met him in New York. I might have been in Boston. I might have been in D.C. I know we've met. I just don't remember exactly where. And when you go to so many discrete rights actions, that's actually not that uncommon. So I'm not too worried about that. Hugh Gallagher was a historian, author, and international disability advocate. He was contracted polio in 1952 at the age of 19 while studying at Harvard. He drafted the Architectural Barriers Act in 1968, which required that all buildings built with several funds be made accessible to all. Eventually was enacted into law. That's a huge thing I did not know. In 1956, he graduated from ASDAC, Claremont Mechanical College in California, and went on with a Marshall Scholarship to Oxford University, where he received the equivalent of a master's degree in political science. Bob Dole wrote, his most outstanding contribution to the quality of life of people with disabilities was to successfully place disability on the agenda of the Congress for the first time. The Hugh Gallagher Award is actually an award that, actually I don't want to talk about that award right now, unfortunately. And he won the Henry Betts Award for his work in behalf of disabled people. He wrote FDR's One Deception in 1985. It's a really great book to read. It's probably his biggest and most well-known book. So again, amazing history in that Hugh Gallagher. I never knew he wrote the Architectural Barrier Act, which basically would be the first federal law that would grant any sort of access. That means that would have predated IDEA, and that would have predated, and it would have actually made IDEA happen because schools are made by federal money, and therefore schools had to be accessible, and therefore with that law in place, it made it so that people could go to school. And also that would have been a few years after the first Head Start program, Kyle in 1964, which a Maine activist named Alice Conway was in, and that was a trial program. It was in Lewiston, Maine. It was actually a federal program, but she was the first child I know of in Maine to be disabled and go to that program. That's the first federal program that ensured people with disabilities, children with disabilities can go to them. So that was also important. So that Hugh Gallagher not only makes it the ADA, but he paves the way for IDEA. He paves the way for all these other laws that would help other people. So, let's see. So it's really kind of amazing. And the next person we're going to talk about, I just need to have a little bit of a sip of water. The next person we're going to talk about is Stacey Park Melbourne. She was a Korean American disabled activist who helped create the disabled justice movement and advocate for fair people treatment of disabled people. She was born in Seoul, at a U.S. Army hospital in May 19th, 1987, with congenital muscular dystrophy. She was mixed race, her father being white American and her mother being Korean. She grew up in Fort Bragg, North Carolina, in a military family, as her father was in the U.S. Army. As a child, she relied on family's caregivers, but when she began to identify as queer, she feared her parents carefully and planned to move out. The choice made more difficult by her need to help in daily activities such as eating, sleeping, and using the bathroom. Milburn began serving as disability rights leadership roles at 16, including the Community Outreach Director for the National Youth Leadership Network. She was later a founder of the North Carolina Youth Leadership Forum and Disabled Young People's Collective to empower youth with disabilities to engage in advocacy and leadership. She was appointed by the Governor of North Carolina to the North Carolina Commission with Blind from 2006 to 2008, and was on the North Carolina Statewide Independent Living Council from 2004 to 2010. She was instrumental in passing the 2007 North Carolina law establishing October as Disability History and Awareness Month, requiring disability history curriculum to be taught in all schools. In 2005, Milburn helped to establish the disability justice movement through conversations with other disabled queer women and color activists. Milburn authored a popular disability rights blog on WordPress throughout the late 2000s titled CryptCheck, later CryptCheck.com. She graduated from Methodist University in 2009. Melbourne moved to the San Francisco Bay Area when she was 24, due to the area being one of the most accessible places for people with physical disabilities. The area had been the historical center for the disability rights movement. It was actually founded in Berkeley, California. And there she continued to organize, write, and speak for the movement, becoming the director of programs at the Center for Independent Living in Berkeley. California ranked highly amongst the states for spending on in-home care benefits, and she was able to obtain Medicaid support for an in-home attendant, enabling her to live independently in Oakland and hold a position in human resources and financial banking company. She created debt nursing assistance for her ability to remain active in her community and avoid institutionalization in nursing homes. She contrasted her experience in care she was able to receive in California against her experience in North Carolina in defending the necessity of Medicaid programs, funding home attendant and nursing services against reduction proposed during efforts to repeal and replace the ACA. Melbourne advocated for fair medical care for people with disabilities, including both access and biases in the system, speaking against unnecessary surgeries. In 2014, Milburn was appointed by President Obama to the President's Committee for People with Intellectual Disabilities. She provided the Obama administration for 2 years. Milburn earned a Master of Business Administration degree from Mills College in 2015. In early March 2020, as the COVID-19 pandemic spread in the Bay Area, Milburn and 4 friends constituted the Disability Justice Culture Club, distributed homemade disease-prevention kits, including hand sanitizer, disinfectant, and respirators, to residents of Oakland homeless encampments. She raised concerns for the well-being of the community and its most vulnerable members. Milburn knows her DIY solution as an example of crippled wisdom. She warned that the pandemic's demands on health services threatened her community's access to dialysis, other life-saving treatments needed by some to survive. Her group organized a mutual aid campaign providing food and care to support for disabled people in need. Milburn continued pandemic relief work despite her own growing health problems. Towards the end of her life, she had health problems. Surgery to remove her fast-growing kidney cancer was postponed during the COVID-19 pandemic due to shelter-in-place orders, and Milburn died in Stanford Hospital on her 33rd birthday due to surgical complications. And a cool note of legacy, Milburn was on the Google Doodle on May 19th, 2022, which would have been her 35th birthday, and you can go to her Wikipedia page and find her information as well. And I'm sorry I'm reading from her. I had some Twitter. She was a really amazing individual, but didn't know her that well. And honestly, it's been kind of a while. It's been a half an hour, and I'm just I'm gonna shout out to Kathy Wolf, who is a LGBTQ writer based in DC who is blind. She just won a prestigious award for her work. She's been disabled. She's been working on her work for years. And she really is a great writer. And there's a lot more people I can cover. I just don't have the time right now. And honestly, I'm gonna have to I'm gonna call this a little bit end this story time today because I'm really tired and I've got to need as much content as I can without basically losing my voice. And it's been really helpful. It's been really fun. Hope you enjoy it. And we'll be doing this hopefully a couple more times next month as well. And have a great day and be well. And if you're catching us on the rebroadcast, like it, love it, comment, please. Thank you, and be well.